Cancer loves acid. Cancer also loves no oxygen. The other thing cancer loves is sugar.
What if I told you that some of the most common foods in your diet could actually be feeding cancer cells? You've probably heard about how unhealthy habits can lead to cancer, but what if the very foods we think are harmless or even healthy are doing more damage than we realize? Dr. Barbara O'Neill has some shocking revelations about cancer-causing foods that most doctors don't talk about, and once you learn these secrets, you'll never look at your plate the same way again. Dr. Barbara O'Neill is a world-renowned naturopath and health educator. With decades of experience, she has become a trusted source for holistic health advice, particularly in the areas of nutrition, detoxification, and natural healing. In this video, we will reveal to you 10 cancer-causing foods you need to stop eating now. You'll find that some of the most common items on your plate may be contributing to cancer development in ways you'd never expect. Believe me, you might be shocked by what you learn, but knowledge is power. So without any further ado, let's get started. At the core of Dr. O'Neill's findings is the idea that cancer thrives in an acidic environment. Our body's pH balance, which ranges from acidic to alkaline, plays a huge role in our overall health. When the body becomes too acidic due to our diet, it creates an environment where inflammation, oxidative stress, and ultimately cancer can develop. The goal is to maintain a slightly alkaline pH, which creates a healthier cellular environment and discourages the growth of cancer cells. The problem here is that so many of the foods we consume every day are acid-forming. Let's explore some of the biggest offenders and learn how they contribute to cancer risk. Number 1. Meat. Let's start with one of the most controversial food groups.
So what foods are high in phosphorus, sulfur and chlorine? Meat. This explains why Dr. Colin Campbell found he could turn cancer cells on and off like a switch by the amount of meat and dairy products he was giving the rats.
Dr. Barbara O'Neill isn't alone in pointing to meat as a significant contributor to cancer risk. Meat, particularly red and processed varieties, is packed with phosphorus, sulfur, and chlorine, which are 3 compounds that increase acidity in the body. But why is this such a problem? Well, in acidic environments, our cells struggle to function optimally. Inflammation becomes rampant, and oxidative stress damages our DNA, paving the way for cancer cells to multiply. Research by Dr. Colin Campbell, known for his famous China study, has demonstrated a clear link between high consumption of animal proteins like meat and dairy and the activation of cancer cells, at least in animal studies. Another problem here is that when you cook meat at high temperatures, like grilling or frying, harmful compounds called heterocyclic amines and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons form. These chemicals damage the DNA in your cells, setting the stage for cancer to develop. Number 2. Refined sugar. Everyone knows sugar isn't great for your waistline, but did you know it could also be creating a toxic environment for your cells?
Refined sugar. It's very acid-forming.
When we consume sugar, our body processes it through metabolism, which produces acidic byproducts. This shifts our pH balance toward acidity, creating conditions where cancer cells can thrive. Cancer cells also feed on sugar. This is well documented in medical research. They require more glucose than healthy cells to grow and multiply, so when you consume sugary foods and drinks, you're essentially fueling cancer. Dr. O'Neill stresses the importance of drastically cutting down on refined sugar. It's hidden in so many foods, from sodas to salad dressings, so be mindful of where it might be sneaking into your diet. Number 3. Wheat. Wheat is a major part of most people's diets, especially in the form of bread, pasta, and other baked goods. But did you know that the wheat we eat today is vastly different from what our ancestors consumed?
The hybridization of the wheat created a lot more of the acid-forming minerals.
In the 1950s, hybridized wheat was developed to produce higher yields and be more resistant to environmental factors. But this new wheat, known as the Emma strain, came with a cost. its protein structure became much more complex, particularly in terms of gluten. This stronger gluten structure is harder for our bodies to break down, leading to inflammation and oxidative stress, conditions that support cancer cell growth. Also, the refining process done today strips wheat of its fiber and nutrients, leaving you with a product that spikes blood sugar and can contribute to weight gain. As with sugar, obesity increases your risk of several types of cancer. Number 4, caffeine. For many of us, caffeine is a daily ritual. Whether it's coffee, tea, or energy drinks, caffeine is how we power through our busy lives. However, Dr. O'Neill reveals that caffeine might be doing more harm than good, particularly when it comes to cancer risk.
Caffeine, all your caffeine foods and drinks have an acid effect. And of course, caffeine usually comes hand in hand with the sugar, which certainly ups it. And remember our 2.6 Coca-Cola, that's a combination of the caffeine and the sugar.
Caffeine, much like sugar, has an acid-forming effect on the body. When combined with sugar, as is often the case with coffee or sweetened energy drinks, caffeine compounds the acidity even further. Acidic conditions, once again, lead to inflammation and oxidative stress, two primary drivers of cancer development. Furthermore, caffeine can stimulate the production of stress hormones like cortisol, which also increase inflammation. Number 5, aged cheese. Cheese, especially aged varieties like blue cheese, might be a beloved treat, but it comes with some hidden risks. According to Dr. O'Neill, aged cheese contains high levels of protein and phosphorus, both of which contribute to acidity in the body. The longer a cheese is aged, the more acid-forming compounds it contains, increasing the overall acidity when consumed.
Aged cheese. What's the blue in the blue vein cheese? The blue in the blue vein cheese is mold. So the only cheeses that don't sit under that category, the cheeses that have probably a pH of 7 would be your fresh. So that's your cottage, your ricotta. I'm not saying that they are okay, because usually they come from cows who have not been fed right or have chemicals in them.
Moreover, aged cheeses often contain mold, which can further exacerbate inflammatory responses in the body. Mold can introduce toxins that increase oxidative stress, damaging cells and potentially leading to cancer. Finally, dairy products in general contain hormones and growth factors that can stimulate the growth of cancer cells, particularly in hormone-sensitive cancers like breast and prostate cancer. Number 6, alcohol and tobacco. We've all heard that too much alcohol is bad for our health, but Dr. O'Neill breaks down exactly how alcohol can fuel cancer.
Alcohol is not a food, but it creates an acid environment in the body. Tobacco is not a food, but it also creates an acid environment in the body.
When alcohol is metabolized in the body, it produces a byproduct called acetaldehyde, which is highly toxic. Acetaldehyde is a neurotoxin that damages DNA, interferes with normal cell function, and inhibits the body's natural repair processes.
Alcohol breaks down in the body to acetaldehyde. And acetaldehyde is a neurotoxin. We don't want a neurotoxin. A neurotoxin is a brain killer. There are 5 places you can be exposed to acetaldehyde. Yes, if someone consumes alcohol. Yes, if someone has a yeast problem and they're having a lot of fruit, it will break down to this. Cigarette smoke, car fumes give off acetaldehyde, and the last one is vinegar.
Over time, this damage accumulates and can lead to cancer. The liver, which is responsible for breaking down alcohol, is particularly vulnerable to this damage, making liver cancer a common risk among heavy drinkers. Tobacco, whether smoked or chewed, is even more harmful. The chemicals in tobacco directly damage the DNA in your cells, leading to mutations that can result in cancer. Dr. O'Neill's advice is clear. Limiting alcohol and tobacco consumption, or eliminating it altogether, is one of the best ways to protect your body from this potent carcinogen. Number 7. Special types of fruits. You're often told to eat more fruit for better health, But did you know that some fruits can have an acidifying effect on the body? Dr. O'Neill explains that certain high-sugar fruits, while generally considered healthy, can actually feed yeast in the body.
Before we go there, there's one other, is fruit. Now I've got a question mark with fruit too. Why have I got a question mark? If someone has a yeast presence in their body and they're eating a lot of fruit, the sugar in the fruit will feed the yeast. And as the yeast feeds on the sugars in the fruit, it gives off acetic acid. It gives off lactic acid. It gives off uric acid. So it basically is feathering its nest. So when a person has a yeast presence and they're eating a lot of fruit, can you see that they are feeding the problem? And they're creating the environment of 5.5 where yeast loves to live.
When yeast consumes sugar, it produces acetic acid, lactic acid, and uric acid, all of which lower the body's pH and create an acidic environment. This acidity, combined with the excess sugar from fruit, can potentially encourage cancer cell growth. Number 8. Special types of grains. Grains are a staple in many diets, but not all grains are created equal when it comes to cancer risk.
All your other grains, other than the grains that sit on the alkaline side.
According to Dr. O'Neill, most grains are acid-forming, which can lead to the same issues of inflammation and oxidative stress. However, there are a few grains that stand out as exceptions. Millet, quinoa, and amaranth are all alkaline-forming and gluten-free, making them excellent choices for maintaining a healthy pH. Number 9. Special types of legumes.
All your other legumes, other than the lima, lentil, and soy.
While some legumes can have an acid-forming effect, Dr. O'Neill highlights a few that are excellent for supporting an alkaline balance. Kidney beans, lima beans, lentils, and soy are all alkaline-forming and rich in antioxidants, fiber, and phytochemicals. These nutrients help protect cells from damage, neutralize free radicals, and reduce your cancer risk. However, not all legumes are created equal. Peanuts, for instance, are prone to mold contamination, particularly from aspergillus, which produces aflatoxins. These carcinogenic compounds can damage DNA and lead to liver cancer. Dr. O'Neill warns against consuming peanuts and suggests choosing other legumes that offer cancer-fighting benefits without the risks associated with aflatoxins. Number 10. Special types of nuts. Nuts are another tricky area when it comes to maintaining an alkaline balance. According to Dr. O'Neill, most nuts are acid-forming, with the exceptions of almonds and Brazil nuts. These two varieties are alkaline-forming and packed with healthy fats and nutrients.
And all your other nuts, other than the almond and Brazil, have an acid effect.
For those looking to maintain a healthy pH, sticking to almonds and Brazil nuts is a wise choice. These nuts offer all the benefits without disrupting the body's pH balance. Are fruits, legumes, and nuts unhealthy? Now, after reading about all these potentially cancer-causing foods, you might be wondering how to maintain a healthy balance in your body. One key way is by keeping your body's pH levels in check. Your body functions best when it's slightly alkaline, with a pH between 7.35 and 7.45. Eating too many acidic foods can tip the balance toward acidity, which, as we discussed, can create an environment where cancer cells thrive. To maintain a healthy pH balance, Dr. O'Neill recommends a diet consisting of 20% acid-forming foods and 70 to 80% alkaline-forming foods.
To maintain the 6.5 environment, we need to be consuming 20% acid-forming foods and 80%, 70 to 80% alkaline-forming foods. And I'm sure you're not surprised to hear me say that the 20% should come from this section here. Yes, oatmeal is here. Yes, rice is here. They're not bad grains. We need a little acid. Yes, your chickpeas are here and your garbanzos, your chickpeas, your black-eyed beans, your kidney beans. They're not bad. Of course they're not bad. We need a little acid. It's when the whole meal is acid that tips the scales.
The key here is choosing the right acidic foods, such as legumes, vegetables, and nuts, and avoiding the cancer-causing foods we discussed, such as meat, sugar, alcohol, and tobacco. Alkaline-forming foods to reduce cancer risk. So, what should you be eating to fight cancer and keep your body alkaline? Dr. O'Neill highlights several alkaline-forming foods that are rich in antioxidants, fiber, and phytochemicals, all of which can help neutralize free radicals, reduce inflammation, and reduce your risk of cancer. Kidney beans, lima beans, lentils, and soy are excellent examples of alkaline-forming legumes that can lower your cancer risk. These legumes are high in antioxidants and fiber, which help protect cells from damage and promote healthy digestion. Millet, quinoa, and amaranth are also alkaline-forming, gluten-free grains that are rich in antioxidants and fiber. Quinoa is particularly beneficial because it's a complete protein, meaning it contains all 9 essential amino acids. Amaranth is another powerhouse grain, packed with calcium, iron, and fiber that can support bone health. By focusing on these alkaline-forming foods and reducing your intake of cancer-causing acidic foods, you can help your body stay balanced, healthy, and better equipped to fight off cancer cells. At the end, it's important to remember that dietary changes are not a substitute for medical attention. The foods and tips mentioned here cannot prevent, cure, or treat cancer. Cancer is a complex disease that requires proper medical evaluation, diagnosis, and treatment from healthcare professionals. If you have concerns about cancer or your health, it's essential to seek advice from a doctor or oncologist to explore the right treatment options for your condition. Now we want to hear from you. Do you or someone you know eat too much of these foods? What surprising food on this list shocked you the most? Share with us your experiences and opinions in the comments below. We love to hear them. Thanks for watching.